Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Grand Cat, and today we are going to take a look at the brand new event called Boom. And we're going to give you a tutorial on it, on how I'm playing the game, and I'm going to show you a rundown of what you can realistically do here. Now this one is a little bit more skill based than some of the other events we've seen. So the first thing to understand is, what does all of this mean? And let's go over that. So first of all, these little symbols here, those don't change regardless of what it is you have. There is one that's always going to be all 8 squares. The little black dot in the center is where your card is, and the dots that are lit up, the little squares that are lit up, are what they will affect. So basically, if I place the rock in a place, then all around him, he is going to attack the enemy, and he's going to deal 92 damage. Now, 92 is a lot because that will destroy a lot of cards. You can see there I've got Legion Brawnbreaker, who is 103, so it wouldn't destroy him, but it would destroy pretty much everyone else that I have. But the downside is that the rock only has a health of 53. Now, what does health mean? Health is basically what their stats are. So if we were to swap over the rock, you can see that Jimmy Uso has a power of 55 because he's just a little bit stronger, but he has a different ability. He has player plus 13. So these are all the things you need to take into consideration. There is 4 different types. You either get enemy minus, which means it will only attack the enemy. So for example, if I put this rock next to my Brawnbreaker or my Bret the Hitman Hart, he won't attack my own cards. He will only attack the enemy. However, there's also all, and you see that all is actually a lot stronger. So my Legion Brawnbreaker has all minus 309. So that means that he's going to deal 309 to anyone that's basically in front of his path. So that also means that if I have any allies that are in this line, he will also attack them as well as attacking the opponent. So all is always a higher number than what just enemy or what player is, and that is what the downside is. The other one, so we've looked at the minuses. So you've got enemy minus and then various different numbers. You've got all minus, various different numbers. Then you have all plus, so this is all plus 77, which means that Cody Rhodes is going to give plus 77 health to whoever is in the 3 spaces behind him. Whether it's an enemy, whether it's a friend, he is going to heal all of them by 77. So if I place this in front of, say, Dominic Mysterio here, Dominic Mysterio's health would go from 52 all the way up to 59 plus 70, which would be 129. So that would make Dominic Mysterio quite massive, but it would also increase the health of the opponent's cards. So that is the downside to having all. And then we have the players plus. So this one, of course, LA Knight is going to give plus 27 to any of my players, but not the opponents. Triple H is going to give plus 15, and over here, Trick Williams is going to give plus 14 to only the 2 players beside him. Now, there's no way to change these. You can swap who has each of these, and it's also random as to what one of these you get. You only get 4 of these in your starting hand, and when you use one, then you get another one. So a lot of it comes down to luck as to who you have to start with, and you have to use, basically, you have to just use your big old brain power to decide how best to take control of the situation. Now, what I've done is, if you can see here, you want to use your strongest card, because having that 103 is going to make it very difficult for the opponent to kill this card. However, as you can see, I'm not using all my best cards. There's Jimmy Uso, there's Damian Priest, who only have player plus 13, which is not a very good skill. There's Roman Reigns, who only has player plus 13. But if you scroll right down, I'm using Eddie Guerrero down here, who is a SummerSlam 24 card, because he has minus 64 to the enemy. So this means that Eddie Guerrero can potentially kill other cards, even though he has a weaker health. So he only has 43, but he can potentially kill cards that are to the top and to the left of us. Now, the whole idea is you want to try and take over as much of the board as quickly as possible. If there's an opponent in your way, you want to get rid of them. You want to smash that off of the field, and you also want to try and keep your characters alive. The problem is you can kill an opponent's character by just placing a card down, but if you want to heal a character, your character already has to be on the field, so you have to play a character, and then your opponent has to have a turn, then you get to summon another character to heal that character. So healing actually takes a turn longer than what attacking does. So that's why I went for primarily going for attacks. So let's do a quick game of Boom here, and I will show you some of my tactics. Now, of course, you're not going to guarantee any way of winning because you don't know what your cards are. Now, we've got the Rock here. This is an excellent thing. We want to try and keep this, and we want to try and take out as many of the opponent's cards as possible. So, what we want to do, there's no point in us using our Trick Williams because we need to try and take over this line. We want to take over this line, we want to take over this line, we want to take over this line. So what we're going to do is we are going to start with a Jimmy Uso, and we're going to move forward. That's going to give us this one space in the center here. Okay, the opponent has not moved forward, so we are actually in quite a fantastic position here. Now, we want to keep moving forward. We don't want to do just the left and right. Now, this Brawn Breaker could potentially win us the game, so I'm going to use this Brawn Breaker to move us forward one. Let's see what the computer does now. Okay, the computer still hasn't actually progressed forward yet. So the next one, I want to get one space up here, and unfortunately I have to use either my Brawn Breaker or my People's Champion, the Rock. But I'm going to use the Rock here, and I'm going to take over all of those spaces, and you can see that now the entire board is all blue. That all belongs to me. He has taken one there, but now I'm going to move my Brawn Breaker up here, and he is going to deal 309 damage to everyone in front of him, like so. And those spaces are all going to now belong to me. So the computer only has one space left, and he's now taken over a little bit there. Now, unfortunately, I can't attack him from the position that he's in, but we've done quite a bit of damage. So next up, we're going to use our Trick Williams to just take away the opponent's spaces. That's going to stop him from being able to move into there. Now again, we still can't do an awful lot here, but what we are going to do is we're going to move Triple H in here. So the computer only has one space that he can place a character, which he did. And now we can start moving up and we can start attacking. So our Eddie Guerrero, he's only going to attack the enemy for 64, which means the Brawn Breaker to the left of us is fine, but this will KO this, I think it's Jimmy Uso here. And that's going to turn that into a blue square as well. Okay, the opponent has managed to take away that one. So next up, I think we are going to use... So our Dominic Mysterio only deals 52 and we need to deal 60, so that isn't enough to take care of him. Neither is the Undertaker here, it's only 64, so he would still have 2 health left. So we're going to go with this one here, and he will only attack Tama Tonga in front of us. Okay, so we're now getting into a slightly better position than what we were before. So unfortunately we don't have anything that can attack multiple areas in the top row. That's what we were looking for. We can only attack one character at a time here, but what we're going to do is we're going to put the Undertaker in here because he's 64, which is quite big. It's going to KO this Finn Balor and it's going to take over this space for us, and that should stop the opponent from being able to play any more cards. Because now the opponent has run out of spaces. You can see there that the computer is now saying I surrender. If you click on that, you will just immediately win. However, let's just proceed forward a little bit more and see how much more we could potentially do. Now, We're going to put Undertaker in here. He's going to attack all four corners, but he's only going to attack the enemy. He's going to deal 63. So that is going to take care of this card in the top right here. And then the opponent still can't do anything because they don't have any red spaces left for them to move. So the next one, I'm going to use Bret the Hitman Hart, and he's going to be able to attack this entire area here. It's only going to deal 56, so it's not enough to defeat our opponent. However, Dominic Mysterio can attack to our left for 52, which is more than enough to take care of that last remaining card. And now we have managed to clear the opponent's entire board. So the computer no longer has any cards on the field, and we can just do whatever we feel like. So we're going to put Cody Rhodes in here, and that's going to increase all three of our cards by 77. So their health are all going to go up. Then let's put LA Knight in here just to increase Braun Breaker a little bit. And then whatever our lowest one is, 247, we'll throw AJ Styles into there. And there we go. Everything is around about that 300 rank. The opponent has 0, so we absolutely win in all 3 bouts. And that's what we're trying to do. I'll do it one more time, because obviously this is largely down to luck as to what your starting hand can consist of. But generally, if you take a more aggressive approach to try and KO your opponent's cards, you'll find you'll have a lot easier time rather than trying to increase the power of your own cards, or heal them, as it's called in the card gaming business. So, again, this is not the best scenario that we want to be in. So I think what we're going to start off with here is we're going to start off with Triple H, just to give us that center point. The reason we want the center point is because it gives us more options. Now, the opponent hasn't taken over any of these points here, which is very much in our favour. I think what I want to do is either put Bret Hart in here, which will give us these 2 spaces, or put AJ Styles in here, which will open this space up here. That is the 2 things I'm thinking of. And I think we're going to go with AJ Styles. That's just going to give us a little bit closer. Okay, and the opponent has now taken over 1 red square in front of us. That isn't anything that we need to concern ourselves about. We don't need to worry about that just yet. It would be nice to take over this one, because that would allow us to potentially attack all of them. But we're going to put Bret Hart in here so that we take over all 3 of these spaces, and that's going to hinder the opponent a little bit. Now the opponent put in a Sheamus to take over these 2 areas there. That has hindered us a little bit now instead, which is mildly annoying. So we have a couple of different options here. I think putting Undertaker in here just to take away this red square is maybe our best option. We don't want to go using up our Apollo Crews, because our Apollo Crews is actually a lot stronger than our Undertaker is. But this will help out just a little bit for the time being. And that is fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put Eddie Guerrero in here, because his minus 64 is going to kill this card, and then that's going to give us a blue card, and the only space the computer will be able to do anything with is this space over here, and then we can start coming in here and dealing a lot of damage. So that is the idea. This is now a blue space that the opponent can't use. Now, I was going to use Apollo Creed here, but actually this Braun Breaker is actually a lot better, because this will KO both of those cards and change those both to blue, stopping the opponent from using them. And that was just the luck of the draw that I drew into that card. Okay, so unfortunately we can't take over this space any longer, because that has now been taken over. However, if we want, we can put our Cody Rhodes up here, and that will turn this card blue and also increase our Brawn Breaker. Or we could put Apollo Crews in here and deal 70 to this, which isn't quite as good. We can also put LA Knight up here just to take over the space. It will turn out blue and it won't do anything other than that. And also the opponent can put in a red card here, and if the opponent has a red card here, that can take over this one. That thwarts a little bit of our plans. But I think it's worth taking that risk for what it is we're trying to do here. Also, we don't want to risk Cody Rhodes accidentally healing the opponent's cards, so we are going to put Cody up here, and that's also going to make that Brawn Breaker just a little bit stronger as well. Okay, that is fine. It's not what we exactly wanted to see. But we can now stop the opponent from doing anything ever again, because the opponent only has one space that they can use, that red one. And if we take that over, then we are free to do whatever we want with the rest of the game. So let's go ahead and do this. We won't KO that card on the top, but we will KO that card on the right. And we'll take over this red space, and that's the more important thing. So we can now, because we've drawn into the Brawn Breaker, we're going to use this to KO both of those cards at the top. There we go, those are completely taken care of, and those become blue spaces as well for us to use. And now we've got a few different options. If we put this Jimmy, or yeah, this is Jey Uso. I was about to say Jimmy Uso. If we put the Jey Uso here, it's not going to KO the opponent's card, but it will give us this extra blue space here, and then we can put whatever we want there, and then The Rock can take care of that final remaining card, and then we have now won because the opponent has no cards on their field whatsoever, and we can just place these wherever we feel like. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Because we have absolutely won. I've noticed that the opponent hasn't surrendered. Oh no, it does say accept surrender now. Okay. I thought that was a bit unusual. And there you go. There is another absolute clear victory for us, because we knew when to take over the opponent's spaces and knew when to take over the opponent's cards. And there we go, folks. That is it. That is how you play Boom. I hope this has been a wonderful little tutorial for you all. I understand that it can be quite confusing, and also it relies a lot on the luck of what cards you pull, and also it relies on a lot of the luck of the cards that you're actually using. So let's go ahead and claim that 1-win streak. There we go, it gives me 5 credits. And of course, if you can get all the way to the end, you get some amazing credits. This one will contain 2 of the following, either a Random Legion or Feral. And a 10-win streak, it'll be Legion, Feral, Invasion cards. You can see that it all really goes pretty crazy once you get into those top tier regions. So it's definitely well worth trying out this mode, playing it out for a little bit. The more you play of it, the more that you'll find that you understand. It's just a case of feeling out the process and deciding how to actually win. And also, you can slide over to the right here and use your females. So maybe you have better females than you do males. You can test that out as well. See what you feel works for you. Oh my goodness, I was attacked by a cough. But the abilities, those are the things that are important, whether it's minus to the enemy, whether it's plus to players. And you can see those are the cards there. So there's Gunther and Roxanne Perez. They deal 125% damage to the enemy. Eddie Guerrero does 150. The Rock does 175%. So these are where the numbers come from. And that is how that all work. So you can see there that Braun Breaker has an all minus 300, which is why he is so absolutely massively ridiculous. And there is Cody Rhodes with all plus 125. And there is Seth Rollins with player plus 100%. And The Rock has the enemy minus 175. So if you do have any of those cards, those will help out significantly. And it's all about planning out your deck and deciding what you want to do. I've went a very, very aggressive approach to try and take out all the opponent's cards. You could play an entirely different play style of just trying to keep your cards alive and trying to get your cards' numbers as big as possible so that you just win on points. I like to completely destroy my opponent and make sure that they don't have anything left on the field. So it's all just different playstyles. And that is going to be it for this little video, folks. I really hope that you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy it, please give me a like, share and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure you click that notification icon so that you can see when more of these glorious little videos go out. And you can get advice from world champion card game players like myself who have destroyed and dominated their way to the top of the world championship. And you can get the advice for them trying out a brand new game where everyone all starts at the beginning and we're all equals. But I do have that little bit of additional knowledge. It is called experience, and it is because I'm a very, very ancient, very old grand cat, grand beast, that I have so much experience. So there we go, folks, and that is going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and we shall see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.